Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about something that I didn't plan on talking about. Now, I keep trying to look at myself, but I really need to be looking there. Um, Something that I didn't really picture myself talking about, especially so soon on this channel, if ever. But I feel that it's important for me to be open and honest and real with every aspect of my life. So, I'm going to do this. I'm going to try to make it as uncut as possible. I'm not going to edit anything unless I have some really long pauses, because who wants to listen to somebody or look at somebody for 3 minutes while they collect their thoughts? So, as most of you have probably realized, Eliza's dad is not involved. When I first became pregnant, oh, and if you're new here, Eliza is my daughter. She's 5.5 months old. When I first became pregnant, we decided that he was in no place to raise a child. I was just gonna, I was just gonna take care of her and raise her. And if we ran into each other, it wouldn't really be that big of a deal. But until she was old enough to understand, we wouldn't disclose that he was her father. So as soon as I was pregnant, I didn't see him. I didn't even tell him I was pregnant. Somebody else did, and then whatever. So I didn't see him for about 5 months, and then when I was about 5 or 6 months pregnant, I did run into him, and he asked how it was going and asked if I knew the gender and if I had picked out a name, and I told him, yeah, it's a girl. I'm gonna name her Eliza, and that was the only contact I had with him while I was pregnant. And then on April 27th, she was born. So I didn't hear anything from him. He didn't, say congratulations or anything to me, but he did comment on a picture of her on somebody else's Facebook that they posted and was like, oh, she's beautiful. Obviously knew that it was, his daughter. So, I didn't hear from him. And then when she was about 6 weeks old, my mom and I were having a ton of arguments, a ton of issues. And so I decided it would be best for Eliza and I to take some time away, and we went to go stay with a friend. She had an extra room with a bed and a TV and furniture, and so she said that, we could stay there while things evened out with my mom. So we went to stay there, but she has been friends with Eliza's father for a very long time. Now, at this point, they were not friends. They had spoken and hung out a little bit when I was probably about 5 or 6 months pregnant, which is why I ran into him. But they hadn't spoken in months since that point, since I was 5 or 6 months pregnant, whatever. They haven't seen each other. I'm just sorry if I start rambling and say the same thing 8 times. So he, while I was pregnant, got a new girlfriend and picked up an assault and battery on her. Now, at that point, I decided that I did not want my daughter around somebody who would put his hands on a woman. Anybody for that matter. He should not be fighting anybody. He's a grown up, let alone a woman. So at that point, it turned into, okay, if we run into each other, it'll be fine, to I don't want you seeing her at all because I believe you're dangerous. You drink and smoke too much, and he was into drugs, I guess. And I had a friend tell me, and she told me, look, I'm only telling you this because I love you and I love Eliza and I care about you guys and your safety. But Eliza's dad has now joined a gang. So apparently it's some like white supremacist neo-Nazi gang, which is really scary because we're Jewish. So if it's not bad enough that he's in a gang, he's in a neo-Nazi gang. So, yeah, so we went and we were staying with my friend, and because my car was always parked outside, he kind of knew we were staying there, so he started showing up. Now, he showed up at first when I was not there, and my friend's grandmother was home, and she, explained to him, look, you can't be here. Emery and the baby are staying here. They're having some issues with her mom, You need to kind of stay away. You haven't been here in months. Like, there's no reason for you to be here. And he left. It wasn't whatever, I was told about it, that he had shown up, and I was like, that's fine, he left, no issue. So I thought we were all well and good. And then one day, I was in the kitchen filling a basin with water so I could. At this point, I was giving Eliza sponge baths because she was little, and little tiny babies are slippery, so it was easier to like lay her on a towel and like whatever. So I was filling up the water, and all of a sudden, he walks in right into the kitchen like he owned the place. Now immediately I was like, what are you doing in my kitchen? Like, I didn't say anything though. I took my basin of water and I went in the other room. Now, this isn't the first or the only time he had shown up. He had shown up a few times before. Most of the time, I just stayed in the house. It was no issue. He didn't come in. He swore he was just using the Wi-Fi or whatever. So I go to check about an hour later, and he's outside on the porch still. So at this point, I go back in the room. I text my friend's mom and ask her, like, hey, can you come here for a minute? I need to talk to you. I explain to her what's going on, and she's like, oh, I didn't know he was here. I'm sorry. Like, I'll tell him to leave. So she goes and asks him to leave, and he straight up refuses. Tells her, no, I'm not leaving. So then she comes in and tells me, and I text my friend who she lives down in the basement, like, hey, can you come here? I really need you. I felt bad because she was sleeping, but she woke up and she came upstairs and she's like, what's going on? And I told her, like, Eliza's dad's here. He's been outside on the porch. He was in the house. I saw him. I made eye contact with him. And your mother asked him to leave and he won't leave. So she went and was like, you need to leave. And he was like, I'm not leaving. I'm just waiting here for my ride. I walked here from work and my ride's coming to pick me up, blah, 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 blah. So she came and told me what he said, and I was like, whatever. And then an hour later, though, he was still outside. So I texted his mom. I texted my friend's mom again and was like, can you come here? And she's like, yeah, what's up? I'm like, he's still outside on the porch. It says I'm pretty uncomfortable. He's in this gang now. I don't know what they do or what he's doing, or he's only here because my car is here. And she's like, I know. I'll tell him to leave. So she goes outside to tell him to leave again. And she first confronts him about the gang, and he's like, yeah, da 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 da, like talking about it like it was cool, and basically tried to say it was like a club. And she was like, it's not a club, it's a gang. Like, you had to get beat up to join this club. It's a gang, it's not a club. And she's like, you need to leave, and you need to leave now. You're not welcome here. Nobody wants you here. You were not invited. You just showed up. You can't just show up and sit on our porch. And I guess he lost it. He like flipped and turned mental and was yelling at her and swearing at her and cussing at her and saying that he was going to take me to court for visitation and I'm a blah 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 because I won't let him see the kid. Meanwhile, he's outside on a porch swearing, screaming, making a scene. I'm in the room taking care of the kid. So there were reasons that I chose for him not to see her, and they all very, very deeply revolved around my need to protect her. She is my child. I need her to be safe. I do not trust him. He was stalking us. He showed up and kept leaving his backpack there so that he had to come back, and he'd wait until my car was there to come back, and it was just a really safe, uncomfortable situation. Thankfully, we are no longer staying there. He will not find us. And for now, we're good. But it's kind of, scary. So I just wanted to let you all know where he was in case you were wondering. He will not be involved in her life at this point. If ever, I cannot trust him. He is now expecting his 4th child. His previous 3, he's only met one of them. And the other 2 he's never met. So that's really it. Thank you guys so much for listening to my crazy rant story about my baby daddy. Please feel free. Ooh, you are sweating, huh? Please, feel free to leave any comments about, anything, any advice you might have for me going forward. This is all very new to me. Um, Parenting in general is very new to me, especially with this added drama. And please subscribe. I promise not all my videos are like this. We post lots of vlogs, and I'm starting to do instructional videos for how I make her food and stuff like that. So we are hoping to build a very fun channel. Huh, you are just out cold. You are so sleepy. So please, please feel free to subscribe to join our family. Give this video a thumbs up if you'd like to see more story times, because I do have a ton of crazy stories. I kind of have a crazy life. I'm also sorry about the poor lighting. I don't have studio lighting. I will hopefully soon. I am looking into ordering some. So that's basically it. Thank you. Hope you're having a good night.